Here I am in the beautiful small town of Kirkwall on the Orkney Islands, and I'm starting out today on a hike, and I'm going to be doing about 13 kilometers. I'm heading up that path over there, up these beautiful stone walls, and I'll tell you, it's just gorgeous here. Even though it's a bit cloudy, and it's cool and it's rainy, I don't care. I don't care. I'm here and I'm having a good time and I'm enjoying myself as I love doing solo walking, hiking, and just checking out the area. So I'm really glad you're going to come along with me. Let's get on that path and go for a walk.
Centuries before Orkney joined Scotland, Kirkwall was a bustling Norwegian port. I discovered the town's oldest surviving domestic building, part of the medieval cathedral complex at its heart. Along with St. Magnus Cathedral itself, the Bishop's Palace is one of the best preserved buildings from this era. Kirkwall also retains its distinctive medieval street plan. The ornate Earl's Palace was added much later in the early 1600s. Patrick Stewart, Earl of Orkney, had the ambitious plan to make the Bishop's Palace part of a splendid palace complex, the Palace of the Yards. The Bishop's Palace, Kirkwall, is a 12th century palace built at the same time as the adjacent St. Magnus Cathedral in the centre of Kirkwall, Orkney, Scotland. It housed the first bishop, William the Old of Norwegian Catholic Church, who took his authority from the Archbishop of Nidaros.
I'm simply in awe, and I'm just trying to absorb and be present and yet take a bit of video. However, I want to be here in my heart and my soul and my spirit, not behind the lens of my phone. So I'm going to take a moment of video and then tuck my phone away and walk through all of this history. The one building over there I noted was built in the 1200s, and this church I know was built from special red sandstone block. I did read that. And so many people buried here in this ancient and beautiful place. So I invite you to stop with me right now at this moment as I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to spend the next 15 or 20 minutes just present with myself and enjoy and absorb these moments. This is what is called the Norwegian Bible. Absolutely beautiful. They asked me not to touch it, so I'm not turning any pages or anything.
St. Magnus Cathedral dominates the skyline. It's interesting to see this statue reclining of John Ray, 1813 to 1893. He was a Scottish surgeon who explored parts of northern Canada. In 1848 to 1851, he explored the Arctic coast near Victoria Island, and in 1854, he went from Boothia to the Arctic coast and learned the fate of Franklin. He was noted for physical stamina, skill at hunting, and boat handling, use of native methods, and the ability to travel long distances with little equipment while living off the land. While I was in the cathedral, I had the opportunity to meet Russell Gilmore. He's a natural trumpet specialist and a skilled cornetto player, and he's also a wonderful artist. I loved this piece of art and I was mesmerized by it. He has other pieces that I've seen pictures of since I've returned, but I will never forget watching him work on this particular piece. As I continued along my journey that day, it was so much fun, and I loved my hike that I had chosen. I traveled along a stone wall and up a path and carried my way through and found myself going higher and higher onto this little mound, really, that was in the middle of nowhere. As I traveled along and watched the stone walls and saw the beautiful grassy knolls, I noticed there was a golf course there to my right, and it felt out of place in this beautiful rugged land, and with the sheep on the other side. Scotland was just a marvel for me as I traveled alone in my solo hike and enjoyed the air and the freshness. Upon returning, I pulled up all of this footage that I had taken, only to realize that there was no way that I could use any of my voice footage on those days. The winds of Scotland just seemed to blow endlessly, and so the camera that I was taking my footage on, there was just no way it could compete with the noise. So I share with you now as I review this footage and watch my footsteps again and recollect and remember all of the creatures, the animals, the people, and what I saw, the clouds in the sky, the grassy knolls, the stone walls, and the beauty of Scotland will remain in my heart forever.
We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
As you can see, the path became more farm-like. It was just sort of two ruts that I needed to follow, and it took me up and up over the treeless lands, and I could see for miles. So come with me, and welcome to Wideford Hill, chambered Cairn. Descend into the darkness of a 5,000-year-old chambered tomb. The cairn is an excellent example of Neolithic design and construction. It is well preserved, with a high central chamber and 3 cells opening off of it. Today, the tomb is accessed through the roof, rather than the original long and narrow original passage from the west. Inside, there are rare examples of Neolithic scratch art. The tomb dates to around 2000 BC and is similar in design to the Maeshowe chambered cairn on Orkney. This hill that it sits upon is 225 meters, and although it's not the tallest, it certainly gives you a beautiful view. Look at these slabs of rock. This slab here that goes from there to there to hold open this place for a path or a body. And then there's this one here as well. These massive stones. And then underneath the place where they would have placed the body. And then it's amazing. Over here is another. Over here is another. And then behind me goes out to that opening in the front. I'll have to figure out when I get out of here what direction that opening faces. I think it's north, but I have to look and see. Absolutely spectacular. Look at the squared off corner. Like it's perfectly flat going this way, and then the squared, like the engineering of this tomb is incredible. Incredible. And I'm so grateful
to be here with what is left of the spirits of the dead in this beautiful place. And then the massive stone on the top. Beautiful.
As I made my way back up the ladder and out of the cairn, there was a young woman sitting there on the grass eating her lunch. And it was so bizarre because I had gone up alone, never seen another soul, and I didn't know where she came from. It was really surreal. So we sat and had lunch together and we were talking, and she was a young woman from France who was like me. She was traveling solo and just enjoying the Orkneys. We traveled back down together, back into the village, said our goodbyes, and I grabbed my lunch and then headed back to the Airbnb. And it was a spectacular day. So as I close off this video and remember the Orkney Islands, I definitely will be returning there again one day. There are lots of places to explore. So hopefully I can take you along for the ride when I return. Watch for more of my Scotland journey coming up soon.